Hi everyone. I just wanted to hop on here and talk about something that happened this week. And it happened a couple of days ago, and I just have had some time to think about it and reflect on it, and really thought it would be something I'd like to share here. So I had my annual exam with my OBGYN, and I have been going to her probably 14 years now. She was my doctor through all three of my pregnancies, and through my miscarriages, and she has known me over the years. She knows about my history with an eating disorder. She's seen me at various sizes through my pregnancies. She was great. She agreed to, never tell me my weight and to only tell me if she was concerned, but never to share the number. And, she has been an awesome doctor in a world where it's hard to find awesome doctors. She is not eating disorder informed, but she respected my boundaries. And I've seen lots of different nurses at that office. So when I went to my appointment this week, I didn't really think twice about it. I have been asking not to be weighed there probably 5, maybe 6 years. It's probably the doctor's office that I first said, I don't want to be weighed. It used to be super anxiety provoking for me. I used to stress about it. I can remember texting my husband about it before the appointments. And honestly, this week, the thought never crossed my mind. It was just, that's part of the visit. So I went to my appointment, and there was a new nurse, or at least a nurse I've never seen before. And a different person checks you in. This person, I declined having my weight. She was fine. The nurse brings me back to the room, and she immediately says, the lady told me you didn't want to have your weight done. And I said, yeah, that's correct. And she said, oh, well, I told her you're probably just like me. You probably weigh yourself first thing in the morning with an empty bladder and completely naked so that it can be as low as possible. And I just kind of stared at her, and I said, no. And she goes, oh, well, what do you weigh? And I said, I don't know. And she just stared at me, and she said, well, you have to weigh yourself. And I said, no, you don't. And the look on her face was like she couldn't fathom that you would not weigh yourself. And she said, again, well, you have to weigh yourself at least once a month. And I said, I don't own a scale. I don't know what I weigh. And it was like I was speaking a foreign language to her, and she could not comprehend. It was beyond her comprehension that as a female living in this world, I could possibly not weigh myself every month. And as if something catastrophic would happen if I were to go that long without knowing my weight. I have not known my weight in years. I do not need to know my weight. When I know my weight, the only thing it does is causes anxiety and triggers my eating disorder. And it blows my mind that it's 2023 and we have so many people in the medical field who are not informed at all. And it was frustrating. Oh, and the extra part of the story is then I heard her talking to the doctor outside of my room before the doctor came in, and she said to her, she said she doesn't know her weight. She said she doesn't even own a scale, as if she was telling on me for something, or I must be lying. It was the most bizarre experience, and it reminded me of a few things. First of all, it reminded me of how in recovery this experience does get easier. I went from stressing about these appointments ahead of time to it really not even occurring to me. Also, had I had this experience several years ago, it would have stressed me out. But the fact that I was able to remain calm and be convicted in the fact that no, I don't need to know my weight. I haven't known my weight. Nothing catastrophic has happened in the last 5 or 6 years without knowing my weight. If anything, my life has gotten much, much, much better, much more free from food obsessions, from the eating disorder, from body image, all of that. So it reminded me that it gets easier. So if you're in this process, wherever you are in the process, detaching from your weight is possible. And it gets easier. And then the other thing it just reminded me is that there are a lot of people without any education on this. And unfortunately, we live in this world where especially medical providers believe that there's something so important and powerful and strong about that number. And, you know, the eating disorder believes that. Sure, the eating disorder wants to cling to any number. It defines something, it means something. But, you know, it's really just a number, and it really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of my health, of my life, you know, in my relationships, in the way I show up in this world. That number does not determine anything. And it certainly doesn't determine my worth, but it also doesn't determine my health. So this is just a reminder for you. If you're going to see a doctor, remember that it's always an option to decline having your weight taken. You know, I used to do a blind weight, but when I learned I didn't even have to have the weight taken, it was a freedom off of my shoulders. So definitely, if you're asked to be weighed, you can say, I decline. If they give you slack, I always just say, you can write in my chart that I declined. So have a good day. Bye.